Hello, and welcome to another map overview in Company of Heroes 2, brought to you by Seth Kiparis, yours truly. So, the name of the map is called Blood Brothers Part 2 Siege, and the backstory is relatively simple. One Soviet commander needs to assist the two Soviet commanders that are trapped in the city by Wehrmacht forces. As you can see here, their position isn't exactly grand. But let's not jump ahead. What are the recommended settings for this map? Well, the recommended settings are standard resources, fixed positions, no mod, and of course a victory point at a counter of 1000 points. The map has also been modified to have a population cap of 300. Now let's start to explain the positions of various players that are going to play this scenario. So player 1 starts with 2 squads of guards, 1 squad of shock troops, and 1 squad of engineers, alongside with 4 T-34s, 1 KV-1 and 2 Su-76Ms. So his job will basically be to advance forward, cross the bridge, one of these, let's see, yep, there's one here, and there's, I missed it, here. He will need to cross the bridge and assist the other players in this city in order to push back the Germans and defeat them. Let's see the other players. So player 2, if I'm correct, I guess this is player 2. He starts with 2 sniper squads, 2 penal battalions, 2 shock troops, 2 guards, as you can see here, 2 machine gun teams, and this is his starting position. He can't really build any more buildings. What he has here, he can call in penal battalion snipers and scout cars and conscripts and engineers. That's basically what he's going to get, plus 2 anti-tank guns that he will need to take care of. Player 3 starts here and he has more space to build. However, he does have less units. He has 2 conscript squads, 1 squad of shock troops, 1 squad of guards, 1 anti-tank gun and 1 half-track. Okay, we covered the players, now we might cover the map. So let's see the terrain here. It is simple. You either have plain open field or you have flooded areas. And that's the reason why combat with vehicles and tanks will be of greater importance than on the other side of the map, because these infantry that you have here will basically serve more as units that will capture territory and hold it rather than bring the fight to the enemy. Except the shock troops, they will be useful for, anti-infantry duty and assaults, while the guards will mostly serve to capture points while the tanks advance forward, using engineers to repair your damaged tanks and then bring them back to the fight. It is simple, as I say. It is mostly flooded, it has some mud or some open terrain, nothing interesting here. Let's look at this side of the map. This side of the map is the exact opposite. I'm going to pause here because it hits on my frame rate. It is the exact opposite, as I said. It is very urban, close quarters combat focused. I mean, look at the buildings. Even the starting position here is surrounded by buildings. And if you look at the rest of the map, there's a lot of obstacles that you can use for cover. Look, a damaged bus, then we have some cartwheels here, a damaged truck here. It is full of obstacles, full of buildings that you can use. This is an interesting victory point here. I like the architecture, good work on that. So in this part of the map, instead of using vehicles, I mean, some vehicles will be important. For example, the half-track, that is no question about. You will need a mobile reinforcement point on the field. You can't build bunkers because they will be easily destroyed. So in this type of terrain, you will use infantry that can use flamethrowers like penals, pioneers, engineers. You will use mortars, you will perhaps use snipers, although I wouldn't recommend it. And if you do have the choice of a commander, I would advise you to pick the one with shock troops, because close quarters combat will be of the essence here. Sure, some vehicles might assist you. For example, as we can see here, the Oberkommando player decided to send 2 Kubelwagens and this Puma armored car right here in order to assist, but mostly combat will be done by infantry, anti-tank guns, mortars, flamethrowers, etc. That is a relatively simple explanation of the map. I might point some interesting strategic assets on the field. The bridges can be used by your enemy but also by you. If you choose to destroy the bridge, that wouldn't be a stupid idea. As you can see here, a lot of forces are being transferred over some bridges. So if you do manage to get to the bridge, plant a demolition charge and blow it up, you might limit the enemy's mobility on the map, which is actually what I would advise. Just mine the bridge and destroy it if you see that a large enemy force is approaching, because the enemy from here won't exactly engage with player 1. He might, but he also might divert forces, and if you're unprepared, you're going to have a bad day because of that. Other interesting strategic assets are located on this side of the map. As you can see, all the fuel points and all the munition points are located on this side of the map. We have 2 munition points here, one around here, I can see it, and fuel points here. So player 1 will truly need to capture those important points for the benefit of everyone. Some other interesting points that I might point out are the repair station located here and the German artillery regiment located on this side. You can't reach the other side, so you won't be able to use their equipment, but nevertheless it is highly advised that you come as close as you can and eliminate the artillery crew, because this artillery crew can shoot at this base and perhaps even at this, partially. At least the nearer regiments of the artillery can shoot at that. I think I covered all of the map and important assets, but I might point out some more interesting stuff and advise you further. As you can see, there are 4 victory points instead of 3. However, the counter does show that there are only 3 victory points, so I am a bit confused. Actually, scratch that. It looks like we have 5. There's one here, we're looking at it right now. There's another one here, 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 and here. I don't know what to think of it, considering that the game only shows 3. I think the creator of this map wanted to put more victory points so that it emphasizes more aggressive strategies, but I guess the game didn't count that. Or it counts it and I'm not aware of it. Nevertheless, let's move on. I could give some advices to players. For player 1, I would advise him to advance forward as aggressively as possible, even if he can't capture territories. Let the infantry focus on that and make sure that your tanks occupy the most favorable types of terrain. For example, as we can see here, there's a lot of mud. Mud can slow down infantry and tanks and makes them sitting ducks if they advance forward. I would advise the player 1 to come here as soon as possible with tanks and prepare a surprise for them. The same applies for these types of terrains. It will slow down infantry and tanks, so it is favorable if you're located on the other side, waiting like a hunter, waiting for his prey. I would also advise him that should he decide to build depots, or rather caches, that he should focus on fuel caches, considering that he can only call in vehicles and that the only infantry that he can call in that is of some better capable fighting are the conscripts. For player 2 and 3, I would advise to focus them on infantry that will benefit them in close quarters combat. Penals with flamethrowers and engineers with flamethrowers are a good selection, but if they have a commander that can grant them shock troops, I would advise them to do that. Don't forget to use mortars if there is a hard target that you need to take out, for example a machine gun team located in a building. Also support your troops with half-tracks in order to reinforce them. The Germans won't build bunkers that will build reinforcement points, and if you were playing as them, I also wouldn't advise it, considering how many matches I played, built reinforcement points, and then the reinforcement points were simply taken out by a satchel charge or heavy bombardment. I think I covered all of the map. I hope that you were entertained and that you got all the necessary information about this map. If you're looking for something that is unconventional, asymmetrical, and that emphasizes cooperation between players, then this is the map for you. This has been Seth Kiparis. I hope it was entertaining and informative for you.